Welcome to the Michigan Skier Show. Join us each time as we explore the people, the places, and the events that shape our great sport.
We're here at Boyne Mountain with a great weekend of ski racing with Cary Adgate, who's Boyne's ski ambassador, a two-time Olympian, a member of the Ski Hall of Fame, and winner of a couple of races the last couple of days. Cary, tell us about how you've been able to keep in shape and do this for actually so many years now.
Well, you know, it's a challenge with a teenager and a soon-to-be teenager and job responsibilities. I do have to make an effort to get out and ski enough so that my main concern is skiing enough so I'm in good enough shape that I'm ready to take a fall and hopefully can prevent injury, because that's my number one sort of priority. I want to be fast, but I more want to get to the bottom in one piece.
And be able to ski another day.
Exactly.
Well, Cary, you set up the course for both the Giant Slalom, the Adgate Cup, on Saturday, and also you set up the slalom course for the Kircher Cup today. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're thinking when you set up those courses?
Well, this weekend was a luxury because we had just phenomenal snow. It was very firm, sort of ideal racing snow, but it wasn't icy, so it's about as good as it gets, and that made it easier. If we have, you know, a lot of snow where I have to think about ruts, that changes things. But my goal is to make it a good contest, and you know, we sort of build this race as a World Cup style race. We're not fooling ourselves. We're not the World Cup, but I try to make the courses similar to what you would see on World Cup. And I think in both cases, aside from the fact that a World Cup course might be a little longer, there was nothing less difficult about these courses than a World Cup course. But at the same time, we try to keep the courses from being, we don't want to throw in anything tricky or unusual. They should be straightforward and reward good skiing.
Well, so the Kircher Cup today was on the Hemlock, which is known as the best racing hill in Michigan, and it's pretty steep. Does that affect the way you set up the flags?
Well, yes, certainly on the steep, you want to put enough offset in the course. In other words, you want to make the skiers turn back and forth across the hill enough to control the speed, because on a hill of that steepness, if you let it go too straight, you're going really fast, and then in slalom, that gets to be something, you know, the faster you go and then come into a combination or something, that's beyond most people to handle. So the idea is, again, to reward good, clean turns, but have the course keep the speed under control.
Well, now, Cary, you actually won 6 national championships and were top 5 in at least 5 World Cups yourself. But the equipment has changed a bit since then. Can you talk about that?
Well, certainly. 10 years ago, I wasn't skiing, and there were a couple years that I didn't even put boots on for 2 whole seasons. So I'd really gotten away from the sport, partially because the equipment, I guess it was less than 100% fun for me. My boots were really stiff, and you know, it was a little bit painful. And I've had some low back problems in the past, and the old skis, when on hard snow, would like chatter a little bit. That really aggravated my back. And when the new equipment came out, I gave it a try, and the first thing I noticed was the skis have such dependable hold that it reduces the shock and the vibration that we used to have. And so it's sort of, I think it subtracted about 30 years off my age, because I was able to, you know, ski and make aggressive turns, but without those little shocks. Really, I don't get sore, and I mean, it really made the sport more fun again. And I think, of course, the equipment is so much better. The way the skis hold on hard snow is phenomenal. I never would have believed it. And you know, I think I've said this to people, and I'm quite sure it's true. I'm pretty sure I'm faster in slalom now than I ever have been in my life. And you know, but don't be fooled by that. That's because of the equipment. It's not because of what I'm doing. Everybody's faster. And, you know, I think it's, in general, ski racing and skiing overall is more fun for people because of the equipment.
Well, it really does sound like a lot more fun, and it's more people actually getting into racing because of the equipment. Would that be true?
Oh, I think so. Yeah, I mean, we see like our NASTAR numbers are way up, and what I see is not just the fact that more people are racing, because racing is a natural for the Midwest. You know, unfortunately, we don't have 3,000 feet of vertical and other things to challenge you. So I think racing supplies that challenge, and the equipment has really opened it up. Even a decent intermediate skier can have a lot of fun racing and carve turns now. And, you know, 10 years ago and prior, that was unheard of. And so I think we're sort of just finding out how, I'm guessing racing will continue to increase in popularity as people discover, hey, I can do that.
Well, Cary, we saw lots of just fabulous racing today, but one of the things that's happening is Boyne Mountain is celebrating 60 years. Now, I know you weren't here at the beginning of the 60 years, but you came along pretty early. You were a local kid, and so you saw some of the changes that took place on the mountain. In fact, I bet you even skied hemlock when there was a hemlock on it.
I did, and that was a sad thing when the hemlock went away. It was kind of a unique thing, and I think there were a lot of people that were pretty sad when that went away. Although I have to say, for today's race, it probably would have been in our way. But yeah, I think I skied Boyne Mountain for the first time, you know, somewhere around 1960. So I wasn't among the first few, but I was, you know, came along close after that.
I'm wondering what kind of advice you might have for one of those younger kids who's thinking about getting started in racing.
Well, you know, some of the things about racing these days, I think it's probably more important now than it ever has been to get started correctly. And that means getting with a good coach, particularly with slalom. There are some things that you can get off on the wrong track, and if you do that and you start practicing the wrong things, I think it's something that's going to have to be fixed later. And so it's more important now to, when you're ready to start, you know, skiing gates, and again, particularly with slalom, it's not as much of a do-it-yourselfer thing as it used to be. But still, for young kids and, you know, and kids of all ages, really, the primary ingredient to becoming a good ski racer is to be a good skier. And so running gates all the time at the expense of not having free skiing experience is not a good thing. I recommend that, you know, our kids, and on the young end, you know, they should be doing 80% free skiing. And as they get a little bit older, maybe in the middle teen years, that goes down to maybe 50%. And I'm talking about, you know, some of that free skiing would be kind of disciplined free skiing, where you're working on technical things as though you would if you were running a course. But learning how to be a good skier that's the foundation of being a good racer. And some people get the cart before the horse there.
Cary, that's great advice, and I imagine you're going to inspire another whole generation to get out there and race. Congratulations on your 2 victories the last couple of days, and thank you very much for talking with us.